Imagine you wake up one morning. You check your phone like you always do, but instead of emails and notifications, there's one single message from your bank. $1 million has been deposited into your account, and it's not just you. Every single human being on this planet. 8 billion people, all millionaires, before breakfast. Sounds like paradise, right? Within 72 hours, the world as you know it would be gone. Not slowly, not gradually, gone. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how it happens, hour by hour, step by step, because the math doesn't lie. And what it reveals about money, power, and human nature is something no economics textbook will ever teach you. Let's start with hour 1. It's 6 a.m. The news breaks. Every government on Earth has somehow coordinated to deposit exactly $1 million into every single person's bank account. We're talking adults, children, billionaires, homeless people in Mumbai, farmers in rural Kenya, teenagers in Tokyo. Everyone, equal, 1 million. Now, before we go any further, let's just understand the sheer size of what just happened. There are 8 billion people on Earth, $1 million each. That means $8 quadrillion just entered the global economy. To put that into perspective, the entire GDP of the United States, every product, every service, every dollar earned in a full calendar year, is roughly $27 trillion. We just created 300 times that amount, overnight. But here's what nobody's talking about. The first people to spend that money won't be the winners. They'll be the ones who triggered the collapse. Stay with me. So what does humanity actually do with $1 million? We can predict this pretty accurately, because we have real data. Studies on lottery winners, universal basic income experiments, and the psychology of sudden wealth all tell us the same story. Within the first 6 hours, what's the first thing people buy? Houses. Real estate websites crash worldwide within 45 minutes of the announcement. All of them. Down. Then cars. Then jewelry. Then flights. Every luxury brand on Earth sells out before noon. That iconic watch brand everyone knows. Gone. Those designer brands with the insane price tags? Gone. Every business class seat on every flight for the next 6 months? Sold out. But here's where things get interesting. Remember basic economics? Supply and demand? The housing supply didn't change overnight. There are still the same number of homes in Manhattan, still the same number of beachfront properties in Malibu, still the same number of villas in the south of France. But now, everyone can afford them. So what happens to home prices when suddenly 8 billion people can afford to buy? The answer will make you sick, and this is already happening on a smaller scale in your city right now. Prices don't just go up, they explode. That $500,000 home in Austin, Texas? By lunchtime on day 1, it's listed at $4 million. By dinner, $11 million. By midnight, sellers are pulling their listings entirely. Why sell for paper money when you also have $1 million in your account? This is called hyperinflation, and things are just getting started. Here's a scenario nobody thinks about. Day 1, 7 p.m. You're a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Everyone's a millionaire. You get hungry. You go to the grocery store, and you find empty shelves. Not because of a storm, not because of some disaster, because every single person in your city had the exact same idea. I'm rich now. Let me stock up. The average American grocery store carries about 3 days' worth of food inventory. That inventory is now gone, within hours. But it's not just about the shelves. Think about who stocks those shelves. The truck driver who delivers the food. He's a millionaire now. Is he getting behind that wheel tomorrow morning? No. The warehouse worker who loads the pallets. She's got $1 million in her account. Is she showing up at 4 a.m.? No. The farmer who grew the food. For the first time in his life, he doesn't need to harvest that crop just to pay his bills. And this is the exact moment, right here, where the experiment stops being about money and starts being about something much darker, something that's been hiding inside our economic system this whole time. Day 2. Morning. Let's check in on a few people. A software engineer in San Francisco. Yesterday she had $60,000 in savings. Today she has $1,060,000. She already made an offer on a house. She's not going back to work. A hospital janitor in Chicago. First time in his life he has real money. A power plant technician in Germany. She quit last night. Why maintain electrical grids when you're a millionaire? Now multiply those 3 people by hundreds of millions. Globally, economists estimate that within 48 hours of sudden universal wealth, between 60 and 80% of essential workers would simply not show up. Not because they're bad people, because for the first time, they actually have a choice. And here's what that means in practice. No power plant workers, rolling blackouts within 36 hours. No truck drivers, supply chains collapse. No hospital staff, ICU patients are in serious danger. No water treatment workers, clean water becomes a crisis within days. But here's the part that will genuinely shock you. The people who are most prepared for this scenario, the ones who actually come out ahead, are not who you'd expect. In fact, it's almost the complete opposite of what every financial guru out there will tell you. Let's talk about who wins. Ironically, the people who spend immediately are the biggest losers. That person who bought a $5 million house on day 1, by day 7, that house is worthless, because the currency itself is collapsing. They traded $1 million of real purchasing power for a building they can't even heat, because the power is out. Cash savers? Wiped out. Hyperinflation drives the dollar below a penny. Retirees on fixed incomes? Their pensions are now worthless. Bondholders? Gone. Here's what history actually shows us. From Weimar Germany, to Zimbabwe, to Venezuela, the people who survived hyperinflation were the ones who held hard assets. Physical gold. Land with agricultural value. Tools, seeds, skills. The farmer who stayed on his land? Suddenly the most powerful person in the entire region. Not because of money, because he had food. And this brings us to the most uncomfortable truth of this entire experiment. One that completely redefines what wealth actually means. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your own finances the same way again. Here's what the experiment reveals. Money is not wealth. Money is a promise. A collective agreement between human beings that a piece of paper, or a number in a database, represents real value. When everyone has $1 million, that agreement breaks. Because money only works when it's scarce. When it's not scarce, what takes its place? The things that were always actually valuable. Food, water, shelter, energy, skills. The experiment shows us that our entire financial system, every bank, every stock market, every cryptocurrency, is built on one single fragile thing. Trust. Trust that the dollar in your pocket actually means something. Trust that the number in your account is connected to something real. And when that trust breaks, even just for 72 hours, the world we've built starts unraveling at a terrifying speed. So let's recap what we learned today. Hour 1, joy, spending, a real estate nightmare. Hour 6, hyperinflation kicks in. Prices become meaningless. Day 2, essential workers vanish. Infrastructure begins to collapse. Day 3, food, water, and energy become the new currency. So who actually wins this experiment? Think about it this way. Waking up to $1 million in your account doesn't make you wealthy. What makes you wealthy is understanding what that number actually represents. Throughout history, the people who lost the greatest fortunes were the ones who knew exactly how much money they had. The ones who survived were the ones who knew what money was not. Money is a tool, but most people treat it like it's the destination. Money is a symbol, but most people treat it like it's reality. Money is an agreement, and every agreement ends the moment the people who made it stop believing in it. The winner of this experiment wasn't the person with the most money. It was the person who needed money the least. And that's the only question worth asking yourself. If the system collapsed tomorrow, what do you actually have? If this changed the way you think about money, join us. See you next time.